My name is Colby Cox. I will be presenting World War I to you guys. I'm qualified to do this because I've written multiple papers on World War I. Most of my information comes from Indy Neidell, which is an American historian, and he's also the co-creator and the host of the Great War Channel, which went day by day of World War I 100 years after it happened. And first thing I would like to talk about is how big the war is, and then I want to go into the innovations that it caused. And then the life in the trenches, and then also finally the aspects that make our world today what it is. The war started in 1914 and ended in 1918, and it was the largest war to ever happen up until World War II. The cause of the war was from Archduke Franz Ferdinand being assassinated by Gavril Princip, a Black Hand member, which is kind of like a secret military group within the Serbian country. They wanted to found Yugoslavia, which is the idea of Southern Slavs are one brotherhood. And the main countries, because of that, it was mainly these hidden treaties that caused it to become a world war. The main countries on the Entente was Britain, France, Russia, America, and Italy, their traitor. The Central Powers originally had Italy on it, and then there was Germany, Austro-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. Bulgaria later on, but they weren't a main power. There were many fronts. There was the Western Front, the Eastern Front, the Italian Front, and even the African Front, which Germany had their general Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck, which was called the Lion of Africa. His only job was just running around Africa causing problems for the Entente. Then I'd like to talk about the innovations of the warfare. Trench warfare, it wasn't like in the American Civil War, where it was just a hole in the ground. They had hospitals, kitchens, everything. It was like a little city. The use of machine guns changed. Instead of it just being, mowing down colonists with it, they actually built tactics around it, such as the Hindenburg Line. Then snipers came about. There was special sniper schools started up because the optic for using rifles really didn't come about until right before the war, and that caused snipers to happen. Then tanks were created. Why they're called tanks and not land ships is because the British, they put it designated under tanks so they would think that the people were making tanks, but they were really making land ships. And there were two variants of the first type of tank: a male tank which had cannons, and then a female tank which had machine guns. And the trenches were brutal. There was rats. They had to hang their food up so the rats wouldn't get it. Rats would be eating people still alive. And there would just be dead bodies laying everywhere. The stench, you couldn't stop smelling it until like 6 months afterwards. The constant of being shelled. You're afraid of when you go to sleep if you'll even be alive or you'll be under rubble and you have to try to dig yourself out. Then hand-to-hand combat. It was just constantly, people didn't really use guns once you got in the trench. You used your shovel. Your shovel, they would sharpen it because it could be used as a shield, not only just to hack someone like an axe. And then there was also shell shock happened first, where we actually took PTSD kind of seriously. That's where the soldiers, they would just freeze up and they'd look crazy. And then the world, we don't even know what it would be like without World War I, because the Russian Revolution was an effect of that, which led to communism and the Cold War. And then the Versailles Treaty, which caused World War II and the rise of fascism. Fascism never really would have been a thing without World War I. In conclusion, World War I caused the world to be what it is today.